It's lucky I have good instructions coming my way because it helps me function. And my name is John Amadon, for those of you who don't know me, and some of you don't. And I'm so glad you're here and new to the conference.
I won't tell them.
And all of you who do know me, kindly keep your criticisms to yourself.
All right, so could you tell us who you are again, please?
Yeah, my name is John Amadon. So we are here for the 21st annual Kateri Peace Conference, Defying Extinction. This is the most important conversation that we can be having because climate crisis, climate disruption is happening every day at this point. We need to activate all of our citizens, and we need to somehow get our corrupt and criminal government to stop making things worse and create policies that will start improving the situation. It's a big task. We need everybody here to work on it in whatever possible way you can. And it is that important if you want to live out the rest of your life. It's down to that. That sounds grim, and frankly it is grim, but we're going to have a good time just the same. And if you're coming to the dinner tonight, it's going to be the last great feast. Well, maybe not the last great feast, but anyway, it'll be a great community feast and with wonderful entertainment and good messaging. So, I'm babbling on, waiting for people to get here, and mostly whoever is here right now. And I'm going to call up my facilitator, Marina Mund, who is the woman who really put this conference together. All out applause and more. And I have only good words to say about the extraordinary work that she has done to create this weekend. I'm going to give the mic to Maureen.
Thank you, John. This conference has many traditions, and one of them is to start late, so sorry. There's a certain level of energy in all of us, I think. The title for today and for the conference overview is Defying Extinction, Nurturing a Garden of Resilience in the Face of Climate Crisis. And maybe the hardest work that we do in preparing is to really go over the articulation of what we want to say. So all of the words in that title, I think, are indicative of what it is that we would like to have happening here in this wonderful gathering and intersection of people. You know, as John says, and as we will keep hearing and thinking about, probably all are in our heart of hearts in our homes, that we are facing this extinction. What that means is a little unclear, but its indications are it isn't in question. That's a pretty powerful word. And so we wanted a powerful word to counter it, and it wasn't denying extinction. It may very well be that it's not to be denied, but defying it. But how to defy it? And I guess the subtitle, and I'm pointing it out because sometimes we look at that as some words on paper, but we really used it as our guide. First of all, we talked about countering, building a garden of resistance, but ultimately nurturing. So together, that's what we're trying to do, is to nurture a spirit of, not resistance, and that was one of the words we played with, not resistance, but resilience. How do we fully live in the face of what is happening onto our planet? And what do we learn from how we got to this place? So the title is really indicative of what we hope happens. And we were very fortunate to have some incredible people to agree to join us in this nurturing adventure. So John, would you like to mention a few speakers, and then I'll do wherever you go.
Okay. We have a list of speakers, and I think I'm going to have you do this.
Okay.
Because
right,
You will do it far more effectively than I will at the
No.
moment. And
I'll probably be totally ineffective. We do have on the website biographies for everyone, and I don't want to take the precious time of listening to them to go through biography, but I'll tell you who they are and why we invited them. Terry Delahanty is a Cree and a Ojibwa, and I'm always sorry if I mispronounce, woman who has come to imbibe the spirit of the indigenous people, both in terms of their reverence for the earth and their respect for their presence in the cycle of life, and his practices what are incredible and deep values that really run counter to why we have ended up where we are. And so yesterday we had an amazing day, and I want to, I guess, stop here as I talk about Terry. Above us, we walked yesterday to a village. It's an extinct Haudenosaunee Iroquois village, a Mohawk village. And the outlines of the life that was there, the longhouses, are still very present. And we wanted to put ourselves very consciously in the presence of people who so understood the nature of the web of life, and also who faced incredible problem in decision-making as the European colonizers came and turned their world upside down, and there was extinction in the air. And how they, what they decided to do, and the fact that they had to make decisions, and some decided ways counter to others, but basically that process of having to confront the world that is outside of us, that is so dynamic in its willingness to run us over, it's gone on here in the past. So we want to put ourselves in that presence, and Terry helped us do that, and we'll do that again today in workshop with Dar Jamel. Dar Jamel, many of you probably know because he was a journalist who went to Iraq, an independent journalist, to try to understand, and then came to understand the horror of the invasion that we waged against a people, both the impact on those people, the Iraqi people, as well as the soldiers who were sent there in our name. And when Dar came back home, he went back to his love, his passion, which is mountaineering, and then became very aware of the impact of climate change. And as probably most of you know, has been writing dispatches and now has published a book, The End of Ice. And those books are for sale, and I urge you, it's a beautiful book, a testament to what's happening, but a testament to spirit. So please consider stopping by and buying one of Dar Jamel's books. He will be giving a talk and also leading a workshop with Terry today. Patricia Hines is here with us. She comes from Western Massachusetts in the Trap Rock Peace Center. She was a professor of environmental health at the Boston University School of Public Health, and has turned much of her research and writing attention to the issues of climate change, and particularly looking at the relationship between militarism, which has been kind of the ongoing theme of this conference, and climate change. So Pat will give us a lot of information, and it will come from her heart, and I think that's one of the things I want to say. We're operating from heart here with all of these people. Mark Dunley, I don't see him yet, but Mark Dunley is the chair of the Green Education and Legal Fund. He was, in fact, the author of the Green New Deal that the Green Party proposed during the last election. He is an activist, environmental lobbyist in New York State, and has helped keep alive the energies behind climate change legislation. So Mark will be here to speak this afternoon and also to lead a workshop with Megan Marone. Megan is an activist from Troy, who lives in Troy, New York. She's very involved with the Sanctuary for Independent Media, and she is very engaged with the Extinction Rebellion and other climate change activist efforts. And she was recently arrested in New York City in protest, and she is very thoughtful about how she feels we should act at this moment. And so she'll be joining Mark Dunley in a workshop this afternoon on activism. Eric Marzak is here, and Eric is has fallen in love in the course of his life. I'm looking for him. There he is. With the traditions of the indigenous people of this area, and he's become very knowledgeable over the years. And he's a well known in the area musician who ultimately began making flutes and playing indigenous music. Eric, I hope I'm not saying anything that's not right in description. And so we want to keep alive that remembering that we are on land of the indigenous people who have and had so much to teach us about how to live in harmony with the earth. And so Eric will help us by periodically interrupting our linear thinking with some thoughtful, reflective music. Also, Sherry Bauer is here. Sherry will be performing this evening with Terry Robin. Both of them immediately lift spirit with their beautiful voices and the heart that they bring to that. And, in a minute, I'm going to ask Sherry to open our day. And they will be both performing this evening at the dinner. So if you didn't sign up, maybe we could figure out a way to get you there. We also have Melissa Tukey. Melissa is a poet, a very recognized poet, who was an activist herself, and ultimately, from the heart of her activism, turned to writing from the heart again. And she has created a collection of poetry where she has collated poets from around the world, many from this country, but also from other places in the world, who speak of from the heart all of the issues that both are related to climate, but also related to the ecology of the human heart-driven world that we all long for, and the impact of the world that is not that. So the anthology is for sale, and again, it's quite compelling. It's amazing in its reach and comprehensive in its diversity. And I would really urge you to take a look at Ghost Fishing, which is the title of her anthology. And then finally, we have with us, and it's a real gift because they came up from New York to be here, Karen Melke and George Bartenia. Karen and George are theater artists. George is an actor who has spent all of his life in theater, on Broadway, off-Broadway, in film and television, and in the works of the theater company that Karen and George founded together in Manhattan. And Karen is a playwright who, through her whole career, has been writing plays about social justice and injustice and war, and she's reached out to the theater community globally and helped them collate their work. And she has been turning her attention to climate change. And so we invited her to come, and tonight she will be working with Melissa in workshop this afternoon. And tonight she will be talking about this work of using the arts to speak to climate change. And George will be performing a passage from one of the plays, and as I understand, in celebration of the beautiful world and why we're so concerned because it is so beautiful. We're very fortunate to have all of these people, and I'm sorry, but we have an incredible cast of presenters, and I wanted to be sure you knew all of them.
No, I wanted to do some of the very basic practical things. For those of you who are new here, the restrooms are in the dining hall on one end and in the museum building on this close end also.